One of the more irrelevant teams in all of baseball this past season was the Texas Rangers, which is, of course, ironic considering they were the defending champs. But they just didn't really have that it factor in their attempt at repeating. But not a single team in their division had that it factor either. They say Disneyland over in Anaheim is where your dreams come true, unless you're the Angels. Going to an Angels game this past season and expecting them to win would be like going to Disneyland and unexpectedly seeing Mickey Mouse getting beheaded. You got the A's up north spitting in the faces of their fans and leaving Oakland entirely. The Mariners, despite having the best pitching staff in baseball, simultaneously forgot how to hit a baseball on offense. And then the Astros, who were just there all along, said, alright, shit, we'll take the division, I guess, before proceeding to lifelessly get dusted by a hungry Detroit Tigers team. I mean, the AL West was a complete mess. Every team had their own issues, and the Rangers were just not very good. In their case, it was a classic World Series hangover. A lot of players having down years like Marcus Semien and Adolis Garcia. The pitching wasn't awful, but it wasn't great either. Just a very underwhelming season, but one that overall I wouldn't look too much into. I still think the Rangers are set to win moving forward and could be the best team in that division very, very easily. And a big reason to that is who's been absent for a while now. In May of 2023, Kumar Rocker and Jacob deGrom became TJBs, Tommy John Bros, both getting the surgery and being knocked out until the very end of this last season when they made quick cameos. Rocker, who was highly touted from Vanderbilt a few years ago, finally made his MLB debut at the end of the season, and deGrom also made an appearance on a big league mound for the first time in a year and a half. And I'm sitting here thinking, wait a minute. This is Jacob deGrom we're talking about here. Objectively, baseball's best pitcher when he's healthy, which of course has been his biggest issue for years now. But I mean, I don't think I'm crazy for thinking this return is a massive deal for 2025. Now, I'm not even fully blaming most baseball fans for not mentioning much of him lately. He hasn't pitched in a year and a half other than the very end of this season for a Rangers team that was irrelevant most of the year. It makes sense, but this is still Jacob mother flippin' deGrom. That is a massive ad for Texas next year. Now, what led to this is pretty wild, like how deGrom went from someone who was must-see TV to someone people aren't thinking about heading into next season. I'm no doctor, but I think it's pretty clear the biggest reason behind deGrom's elbow issues was the max effort issue. Pitchers are having all these elbow injuries, not necessarily because they're throwing so much. Sure, that's part of it, but mostly not. If it was just an innings or overusage thing, you would never see relievers getting Tommy John, and starting pitchers don't even go as deep into games today as they used to. Teams baby them as much as ever. Their innings and pitch counts are under a microscope 24/7, etc. So it's more so just how hard these guys are throwing each pitch. And it's challenging what the human arm is capable of doing. You're not supposed to throw 100 miles an hour with max effort all the time. You may find success that way in the case of deGrom, insane success, but you won't find longevity. Tyler Glasnow even fully admitted this during the year. I don't remember the specific show he was on, but Glasnow, someone who's had plenty of elbow issues himself, talked about how pitchers aren't really going to change the way they do things based off of health. Because at the end of the day, it's all about results and success, and throwing really hard, spinning the ball as much as you can, that's what gets you money. So it's kind of annoying. You have the ability to be as good as you possibly can, but it comes at a cost.
Think you do it?
Jacob deGrom was a runaway winner of the National League Cy Young Award.
Yes. What did it cost?
Everything.
And deGrom is the best example of this. He's always thrown hard, but it started out a little lower. Like his fastball was 94 miles an hour on average when he won Rookie of the Year in 2014. And then it went up in 2015 to about 95, 96 miles an hour. But in 2016, his average fastball velocity went back down to 94. Although part of that probably had to do with the discomfort he felt in his elbow and numbness in his fingers, something he fixed with surgery. And after that, no more health issues, as his fastball velocity only got higher and higher every year. 2017 was a really good year for deGrom, but it was 2018 where everything changed. Which is weird to say considering he was already a great pitcher before that. His ERA was 2.98 in his first 4 seasons. You can't ask for anything better than that. But deGrom somehow, some way turned it up 10 notches to become by far the best pitcher in baseball. The one thing about 2017 that stood out in a bad way was the home runs. deGrom allowed way more homers than he ever has in his career with 28, but in 2018, that went down to 10. His ERA also went down to 1.7. He of course won the Cy Young Award and finished top 5 in MVP voting. And from this point on, again, when healthy, nobody is better or more dominant than Jacob deGrom. But that's obviously a very important thing to factor in. being healthy, because since 2018, a year where an already elite Jacob deGrom set the world on fire and upped the level of how good we see him being, even though, again, he was already really good, we've gotten a total of one full season from him since that year. One. It came the very next season in 2019, where he was also amazing, and that's been it. 2020 was a shortened season for everyone. 2021 looked to be deGrom on his way to being an absolute maniac and top a 2018 season that seemed impossible to top, but he was well on his way. It was ridiculous. In 3 straight starts in April to start the season, deGrom struck out at least 14 hitters. Think about that for a second. He struck out at least 14 hitters in 3 straight starts. 14 against the Marlins, 14 against the Rockies, following that up with 15 against the Nationals. There's no way to put it other than he was simply having an easy time out there. And his fastball, one that had only gotten faster and faster as the years went, averaged over 99 miles an hour in 2021. That was his average fastball. Constantly also pumping 101, 102. Hitters had no chance. It was ridiculous. That's just not real. The big leagues wasn't a challenge for deGrom anymore, and he ended up having another 14 punch-out game against the Braves. A start that unfortunately ended up as his second to last of the year. Jacob deGrom's elbow issues were like that homework or work assignment you've been procrastinating. You know it's something that isn't going to magically go away and you're going to have to eventually deal with it, but you're enjoying the other thing you're doing so much, so you just keep putting it off. We were all having so much fun watching Jacob deGrom make Major League Baseball look like Little League. Nobody, whether it was deGrom himself, the Mets, or any of us, wanted to deal with the reality that this wasn't going to last because his body wouldn't let it. But eventually, you gotta deal with it. And so, deGrom's season ended in the middle of July. He wasn't able to come back and wouldn't return for over a year, missing most of 2022, coming back in August. And in his first playoff game since 2015, he did strike out 8 Padres hitters to keep the Mets season alive. But that was the last time he'd ever be seen in a Mets uniform. That's where he'd sign his 5-year, $185 million contract with the Rangers, where everyone predicted he wouldn't pitch very much. And to those haters, well, yeah, I mean, he didn't pitch very much. The assholes were unfortunately right. And baseball being the unpredictable sport constantly high on meth that it is, the Rangers went on to win the World Series without him. Because of course they did. And the Rangers, like I said, were irrelevant in 2024, trying to repeat, but deGrom finally made his return to get back into the swing of things in preparation for 25, and didn't pitch much or go deep into games. All that was limited, but from what we did see, it looked really good. His first 2 starts back were against the Mariners, so it helps when you're facing Little League level hitting, but forget that. deGrom was freaking nasty. He really didn't look like a guy who hadn't thrown at the big league level in a long time. His literal first strikeout back came on a 99 mile an hour fastball, and just overall everything looked sharp. He faced the Mariners twice and then the Angels, and it was all on point again, especially for a dude just getting back into it. Now obviously deGrom hasn't been able to consistently pitch at all in the last 5 years. He's 36 years old, so is there a chance he never is that guy again? The one from the Mets? Yeah, of course. As much as it didn't seem like it at times, Jacob deGrom is still a human being like the rest of us. But we also saw what Justin Verlander did at age 39 after coming back from Tommy John surgery in 2022. He went right back to the pitcher he was in 2019 that won a Cy Young Award, winning another one, now pushing 40. So not to put crazy pressure on him, but Jacob deGrom, especially seeing that his stuff is still as strong as ever when he came back, can most definitely replicate the kind of thing Verlander did. I know there's a lot of talk of other pitchers, rightfully so. Yoshinobu Yamamoto just got the biggest contract ever for a pitcher. Roki Sasaki is about to join Major League Baseball. You have some really good free agents currently out on the market like Corbin Burns, Blake Snell, Max Fried. Again, all of these guys are rightfully being talked about. There's no issue with that. But the fact that we're getting a supposedly healthy Jacob deGrom back next year is really exciting, whether you're a Rangers fan or not. I mean, before he even returned to the mound, it was an exciting thing to think about. If you did think about it, many feel like weren't, but especially now after being teased at the end of this past season with what we saw. It is not an exaggeration at all in the slightest to call Jacob deGrom the best pitcher in baseball when able to pitch. And if his arm and overall body cooperates accordingly, Major League Baseball hitter's ultimate Grim Reaper may be back, and it's time to start realizing that. Let me know your thoughts, and thank you for watching.